Wait, I gotta see if this will work. And there was much rejoicing. Yay! All right, I think we're gonna throw down. You ready for this?
No.
All right, good. So, welcome every pony to Ponies and You: How My Little Pony Affects Lives. Today we're gonna talk a little bit about obviously My Little Pony, the fandom, and the show a little bit, and talk about how lots of lives have really been changed by this show, by this community, and how that influence has kind of spread. We're going to talk about our own personal stories. We're going to talk about a little bit of science, because it had to be science immediately. Thank you, Twilight Sparkle. And we're going to also talk to you guys, and at the end of this, you guys are going to get a chance to come up and talk if you would like. So, without further ado, let's introduce ourselves. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Forward Progress. I am a member of the Bronies of Southern Pennsylvania, which is the local area Brony group, many of which are sitting right here.
Obspa represent.
Yep. I'm also the founder of the Keeping Friendship Magic project, which I will be doing a couple other panels this weekend on the Keeping Friendship Magic banner, I guess you could say. If you are interested, if you don't hate the sound of my voice by the end of this, come see tomorrow. I'll be doing Keeping Fandom's Magic at 11 o'clock over at the new space in Tellus 360. Please come. If you get lost, I can direct you there. And I may be adding Keeping Friendship Magic: The Odd Pony out to tomorrow's schedule. It's not on there right now, but I had a conversation that might be added tomorrow. So, yay! So, they're going to update the Skeds program with it if they do.
Yeah, the app.
So, yeah, there's apparently a gap in coverage, so I'm looking to fill it. Yes. It is sked.com. You can look up. Actually, I think if you go. Zenkaikon2017.sked.com should take you right to the schedule for the weekend. It's actually a really cool little program. I don't even look at the paper for the weekend. I look at the website. It's so convenient. What else? Oh yeah, I'm a social scientist, and I'll have a degree in 1 week to prove it. So that's enough about me. Let's talk about you.
I don't like talking about myself.
Well, you're sitting in front of a room of people.
All right. Friends. Such a thing exists. All right. My name's Lyrica. I'm also a member of the Bronies of Southern Pennsylvania. I'm also a member of the Lehigh Valley Brony group, where I initially started. So, I mean, there's that. I'm just nothing really special about me. Just regular.
You are special.
I'm not a snowflake.
This is not the panel for that. So, I see a hand. Hello. Oh, thank you. If you,
Thank
might
you.
have. Oh, her.
That's so totally you, John.
It's okay. I love you too, Ty. All right,
Purple's
so
best color.
as the show has shown us, out of curiosity, is everybody here a pony fan? Because I invited everybody I wanted to talk to everybody about this, because whether or not you're a fan of the show, everybody has friendship in their lives. And the power of friendship is truly remarkable, and there's been a lot of different moments in the show that have shown that. One that really stuck out to me when I was putting this panel together was this moment. If it works. You broke it. I do not want to connect to Marriott guests, thank you very much.
Things don't turn out well in Equestria without my friends. Ugh, what's so special about your friends? How can a group of ponies that are so different be so important? The differences between me and my friends are the very things that make our friendship strong.
No.
I thought Sunburst and I were the same, but we turned out different, and it tore our friendship apart. So try again. Make new friends. And if something that you can't control happens that changes things, work through it together. That's what friendship is. And it's not just my friendships that are important to Equestria. Every pony's are. When yours ended, it led us here. But just imagine all the others that are out there waiting for you if you just give them a chance. How do I know they won't all end the same way? I guess it's up to you to make sure they don't.
So not gonna lie, that was a really awesome episode. I loved it. And
I got goosebumps.
yeah, it's not just because I'm cold in here too. But the thing about it is a lot of what Twilight was saying there about how friendship, everybody's friendship is important. And this is an episode where literally friendship saved the world. There was a few, for anybody who hasn't seen it or isn't a fan, in this episode, our friend Starlight Glimmer, who is on
Not our
the
friend at this point.
that did stop on the right there, is at this point not our friend yet, and she went back in time to change and destroy the friendships of our actual friend at the time, Twilight Sparkle, the other pony on the screen. And by doing that, the world was literally going to be destroyed. So, by extending a hand of friendship to her, created a better future. And that's what I think happens in this fandom, is that by extending friendship, we can create a better tomorrow. Thank you, computer. So, we're going to start. We're going to talk about our stories, and we're going to get a little personal here. So, I did not bring tissues. I should have brought tissues. So, I'm going to go first. So, a little bit about myself. I'm in my 30s right now. You don't need to know the real exact number.
Yeah, tissues.
So,
Are those pony tissues?
she's making up for that comment. Aw, that's too adorable to be true. Maybe, we'll see. I'll let you know. So, I guess I'm kind of like in the, I didn't expect in my mid-30s to start watching a show about cartoon horses. That's for certain. When I first discovered about the Brony phenomenon, I think I found out about it the way a lot of people did, was kind of through the grapevine and through Hot Topic. Because let's face it, once upon a time, this was about 2013. This was what your Hot Topics looked like, and this was all this was the men's section.
Those were better days.
And I am a little ashamed now to admit it, but at the time I was like, I don't know why it's doing that. I was like, what is going on? Like, what is this thing? This is weird. Like, all I had in mind was the 1980s and, the My Little Pony tales where they all went to school and did their makeup together, and I'm like,
And had
what?
milkshakes. Don't forget the milkshakes.
Bonbon's making cookies all day. But, so it just was like, I was like, this is weird. What is this? I don't get this. I don't understand this. And I just was like, I was one of those people that I just was like, okay, I don't get it, and therefore, something's wrong here. Like, I just put my hand up like, nope, something's wrong. And it was a really odd thing that made me change my mind. Any Legend of Zelda fans in the room? I love you all already. So, by the way, I'm doing Theory of Zelda on Sunday. But anyway, anybody fan of watching YouTube abridged series? 'Cause I certainly am. So there's an abridger on YouTube by the name of Xana Uzumaki that I watched that did these, in my opinion anyway, hilarious Zelda abridged parodies. And we'll give a content warning. There's definitely adult content in there, but I watched this and I was really entertained, and then I realized this guy was posting Brony videos too, and I'm like, wait a minute, like he's cool and he's a Brony, he's I think normal, so maybe there's something to this. And so like hang on, I got a clip from one of the abridged that I think some people might appreciate. Oh god, if it loads.
Working as a team, Navi would offer Link useful advice in times of hardship, thus forming the foundation for their future friendship.
Hey Link, look at that, right there. See that, huh? See it, right there, huh? Look. Hey, look, listen, hey, look, listen.
What?
It's a door.
What about the door? I know how to open a door.
The long story short, that's literally how I decided to give My Little Pony a chance. I was like, wow, like, this is somebody who gets my humor. It seems like a normal person, and all this. And I'm like, okay, maybe there's something to this. And then, so I did a little digging, I did a little researching, and I found out about that Lauren Faust was the person who created My Little Pony. If you don't know already, Lauren Faust is part of the power couple that is Lauren Faust and Craig McCormick.
Kraken.
My childhood.
Kraken, oh my god.
My childhood.
It's okay, Jim. We all make mistakes.
If you aren't familiar with the names, I guarantee you're familiar with the shows. Between the two of them, they've created Powerpuff Girls,
Cartoon Network,
Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Let's see here. What is the new one? Yonder, Wander Over Yonder.
Wander Over Yonder.
Yeah. Some of the greatest, most progressive cartoons of I would say, of the last 15 to 20 years.
The late 90s to today.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, if Lauren Faust is the woman who created this, I got to give it a chance.
They also did early King of Prussia.
Yes, they did. Give that man a cookie. So, my first episode.
That works.
I was like, okay, I'm going to watch an episode. My first one was Over a Barrel. And I was just really like, wow, this is interesting. Like, the script seems really well written. The characters are like, they're not just one note, they're complex, and there's good humor that I can enjoy as an adult and all this. And so I watched it. And then I watched another. And then I watched another. And next thing you know, this was me. Yes, add a hot topic. We call that symmetry. So I fell in love with the show. Now, despite the fact that I fell in love with the show, I really didn't like the term Brony. All I heard was negative stuff, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to label myself that way. I don't care about this term. It's like, I still had that thing in the back of my mind. It's like, there's a bunch of like weird straight guys who are watching, cartoon horses for girls, and I'm like, I'm not that. But then,
No comment.
I watched this little documentary. There's a lot of up and down comments about it over the years since this first aired, but I'll tell you what it did for me. It gave me a different perspective. The Bronies documentary, one of the extremely unexpected adult fans of My Little Pony, was hosted by John Delancey, aka Q from Star Trek, and he went into BronyCon. He contacted various people within the fandom and talked to them and found out what it is from the show that inspired them and what they do about it. And there were stories about musicians and artists and the convention scene, and I was like, whoa, this is so much more than just people in their basement with neckbeards watching, watching a show for little girls. Like, there's more here. There is more to this. So, I thought about it, I'm like, okay, I gotta check more out, because there's a convention scene. I live here. Baltimore's not far away. So I got a ticket, my little poor self found a ticket in a little hotel room outside the city, and I made the trip down to BronyCon back in 2014. I have a couple of pictures here from it, and I bring, the one on the right is from Brony Palooza. Anybody coming dancing while we're at the con here? Yeah. I'll probably be down there. If I do, I'm gonna switch into a Pwn 3 cosplay. But
Exactly.
the one on the left I'd like to show. I look like crap in that picture. I look terrible. That shirt does not fit me, but I like to show it. And for those of you who do not know who that is, in the chair there is Michael Morones. Michael Morones is an 11-year-old boy, well, was 11-year-old at the time. I think he's about 14 right now, who went to school and was bullied for being a fan of My Little Pony. And he just repetitive day after day, just couldn't take it anymore and reached the point where he tried to take his own life. And he was luckily saved from that, but it caused a lot of damage. And basically he was left as all but a vegetable at that point, where the doctors all said he's not gonna even move or talk or anything. Well, news got out to the community, and the community rallied around this boy. And this boy has been to, obviously, BronyCon. His family started the Michael Morones Project to help fight back against bullying. And his boy has worked his butt off. He's been visited by voice actors from the show, has this whole community of fans just for this little show for kids went, like, there is somebody who needs our help and we're gonna be there for him. And he has made amazing progress. He has talked, he has moved. You know, it's not, he probably will never, you know, be the same as what he was, but this is a kid who had people all around him the whole time, and once he realized it, he fought, and he's still fighting to this day. And that inspired the crap out of me. They're lovely people. If you want, look up the Michael Morones Foundation. Tiffany Morones is his mother. They are wonderful human beings. Anything you can do for them is wonderful. So I left that convention on a high, just like a super high of like, I found my people. These are people who believe in friendship and acceptance, and like, you know, like these are people who like, they didn't care, people who don't care about what gender you are, what sexuality you are, what color you are. It's like, hey, you're a fan of the show? Cool, come chill with us. Like, I went by myself. I never met another Brony at that point. I thought I was the only one. Hey, guess what? I was wrong.
I recognize some of those people.
That is our group shot from, this is the Bronies of Southern Pennsylvania, who I found shortly after BronyCon, and these are amazing people. I love every single one of you that are in the audience, and even if I don't know you yet, I still love you because you came to my panel. But with a PH, bro.
What's up, brah?
So I just I found this at home. It's not just at a convention. Bronies are everywhere. There are people who believe in these values, who despite all of the darkness that's in this world, can reach in and go, oh my goodness, like, you know, all we gotta do is connect to people. And by connecting to people, by making the connections, by staying strong with our friends, we can literally change the world bit by bit by bit. And after meeting everyone from the group and just being inspired by meeting Michael Morones and his family and a couple other families who have been through some definite tough times, I decided to create the Keeping Friendship Magic project. What I like to do, as I mentioned, I'm a social scientist, and I really believe that you can take the values from My Little Pony, and honestly not even just Pony, just fandom, various fandoms in general, and we can use science and these examples in pop culture, and we can look at this, and we can look in ourselves, and we can unite together stronger than ever. So I've been presenting on Keeping Friendship Magic for, this is the 3rd year.
Yep.
I've done this. I want to say I've done probably about 20 panels by now. And I never would have thought that this is what I would be doing with my life. Neither did my computer, apparently. Thank you. So, this is what I do, and this is now my life. And I went back to school full time. I graduate in 8 days. If y'all want to come to the Giant Center next Saturday morning at 9:30 and just cheer on the random guy with ponies on his cap, go ahead. Literally discovering this show and the people behind it literally did change my life. So I thank all of you for being awesome, and if you came into this con not knowing a friend, well, you have one now. Come see me afterwards, and I will give you a hug. So, I've talked for a while. I'm sorry, did I totally go over just breaking you down?
No.
I love you, honey. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, the fabulous Lyrica.
Now, my story's not as in-depth as his and all as inspiring, but my story starts off in the early 90s. I grew up with three sisters. They picked what was on TV. It was the early 90s, girls shows, My Little Pony. So I grew up watching My Little Pony, was a fan either way. Long story short, I've been a fan of My Little Pony since Generation 1 reruns, essentially. As time went on, interests waned, yada, yada, yada. But around, I guess it was 2007, I decided to check it out again. And it was during what's referred to as the terrible Generation 3.
We do not speak of those things.
hey, Generation 3 gave us minty. You take that back.
I did have a very minty Christmas
3.5 was the really bad one. But that little pony you see there on the screen, she actually is a full-fledged representation of myself. She actually came about in a dream of mine where I was her. Over time, I started having identity issues and not really knowing who I was and all that. And, I put on a back burner because I didn't really think anything about it. Especially back then, it wasn't as big as it is starting to become with people. And then on one day in 2010, I was watching a show called Batman the Animated Series on a channel formerly known as The Hub. Because, I also grew up watching Batman, and I love Batman. So, why not? Well, after that came a episode of a show called My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Having grown up with the older stuff, I decided to go ahead and give it a shot. Right off the bat, it was literally the first airing of the first episode. It was the premiere of the series. And right off the bat, I fell in love with it. For the longest time, I didn't really know about there being a community or anything. Until about, I think it was the time of Rainbow Rocks, when I decided to go see it in theaters, because one of the theaters near me was actually showing it. I went with a couple friends who I met at Dunkin' Donuts.
It does keep America running.
It does. But, I ended up going there and I met the Bronies of Lehigh Valley. And through the group, I decided to join it and I met a lot of good friends. I also found out that there really is a full-fledged community of Bronies. Around that time, my identity issues started coming more forward and more prominent. And it was mainly through those friends I met in the Lehigh Valley that really pushed me to actually accept myself and come out and start being truly myself. As such, here I am today, living full-time as a female, got my personal name, Lyrica, great friends.
And you're gender appropriate on your ID, which is awesome.
Yeah, I got my ID changed. that was a big deal for me after a mishap in Reading. you were there for it. But we don't like talking about that.
We all have times in our lives where things are going to try to knock us down. And,
Exactly.
I know I've had that, and I know you've had that, and I'm sure everybody in this room can sympathize with that. Friendship.
Friendship is a very big thing.
Helps so much.
Especially if you find the right friends, and not just people who think they are your friends or pretending to be your friends. Like, true friends are really that much more special than anything. Like, I could probably deal with, if I lost all my friends right now, I'd probably be gone.
You can't get rid of us that quickly.
I mean, at one point with the whole identity thing, I was actually contemplating suicide. I do not really talk about this. Very few people even know that. But, you know, it was through the Bronies and friends that I was able to push through it, and I'm still here.
And we love you.
Thank you. And about, I guess it was almost 2 years ago that I moved down to Harrisburg. You can. Well, now I'm in New York, but you can still be friends. My boyfriend's Canadian.
It's only literally like 20 to 30 minutes. So.
But you know, after moving to Harrisburg, I joined BOSBA. I mean,
by the way, this is not supposed to be like an all look at us, we're the most amazing people in the world panel, but like out of everyone, it's the people in the group that have really kept me sane, actually let me be myself. Anytime I have a problem, there are always people there for me. I have people I feel I can rely on, and people I can trust. Like, growing up, I did not trust anyone. Because I had built up that wall, and I would not let anyone through. So yeah, like, essentially, Brony saved my life and made it what it is. Somebody should be taking a picture. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, that's really the full extent of my tale as it is. So, I mean,
Awesome. Yay. Thank you, Larry. So,
thanks for listening.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
You're welcome.
So let's talk some science, shall we? So last spring, I basically took all my friends and I went, I'm going to science all of you. And
Except me.
I still science you, just in a different way. Wow, that sounded bad. Wow.
You lived with me.
Ignore the way I just said that. So, but I did a qualitative study on a Brony group, on a local Brony group, and I kind of set myself a step back, and I said, you know, just ignoring the fact that I am part of this community, let's take a step back and see what is happening with everyone else. What is bringing people together? What is keeping this fandom going? Because let's face fact, 7 years of Pony now. 7 years, the longest running series in Hasbro's history. And they've got quite a history.
Yeah. Like, ignoring Transformers, each one's essentially a separate continuity and separate show.
Right,
So.
but as an individual entity, you know, no show has gone this long, and we've got the movie coming out in October and season 8 for next year. So, yeah.
Pony's here to stay.
So, you're going to notice some themes between our stories and what I observed in the group. And one of the big things was identity and finding yourself. I think in my story earlier, I want to say I probably mentioned this idea of finding my people, of finding like-minded individuals, because it really is that thing of like a, you know, in life we go through things and we all kind of have this mindset of how the world should work. And I feel like at the end of the day, what we really want to do is find other people who share those similar values. And what it is that I found is it strengthens people's feeling of individual identity. It's that identity of, I'm okay being myself. I can exist as myself in this space. I have had so many people say to me, I found my people. I feel so much more comfortable in my own skin now being here. I've observed people who, cannot present fully on their full gender or their sexuality in public spaces, but when they are in a group of bronies, they feel safe being themselves. And that's a powerful, powerful thing. The other is a sense of social identity, in a sense of where do I fit in society? Do I fit in society? How does this come together? And it kind of, within the fandom, there is a definite navigation of existing in the fandom and then that fandom existing within the outside world. So what that basically is that, within it, by having a group of people, by being more social within that, a lot of people are more able to become more social outward. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the thing called the Myers-Briggs personality indicator test. It's crap psychologically, to be honest. It really doesn't hold a candle to true psychology, but it's fun as heck to take. One of the aspects of it is introvert versus extrovert. Every once in a while, me and a few friends, we take it just for fun to see if we still are showing up the same way that we used to. I have had friends, and I've seen people when I did the study who used the test as introvert, and now from being more social within this group of people, now consider themselves an extrovert and test that way. And I think that's pretty darn powerful to be able to kind of come out of your shell. Now, there's nothing wrong with introverts. Let me state that too. My other half's an introvert, and all power to the introverts. We will unite later in our own spaces in our own time. But yes, it's even for introverts to have that place where they can actually feel comfortable and know that when through this great big world that's around us, there's still a place where I can feel safe around other people. That's pretty darn powerful, if you ask me. Other thing I want to talk about is social cohesion. Essentially, what has kept this fandom together through 7 years? And I think we actually had the answer right from the very first episode. If it loads.
It hates you. Yes.
The night will last forever. You think you can destroy the elements of harmony just like that? Well, you're wrong, because the spirits of the elements of harmony are right here! What? Applejack, who reassured me when I was in doubt, represents the spirit of honesty. Fluttershy, who tamed the manticore with her compassion, represents the spirit of kindness. Pinkie Pie, who banished fear by giggling in the face of danger, represents the spirit of laughter. Rarity, who calmed a sorrowful serpent with a meaningful gift, represents the spirit of generosity. And Rainbow Dash, who could not abandon her friends for her own heart's desire, represents the spirit of loyalty. The spirits of these 5 ponies got us through every challenge you threw at us.
You still don't have the 6th element. The spark didn't work.
But it did. A different kind of spark. I felt it the very moment I realized how happy I was to hear you, to see you, how much I cared about you. The spark ignited inside me when I realized that you all are my friends. You see, Nightmare Moon, when those elements are ignited by the spark that resides in the heart of us all, it creates the 6th element, the element of magic.
The elements of harmony are I think, the biggest thing that we get the social cohesion from. Because what I've noticed, there's a lot of different opinions as what it means to be a brony, and everybody's entitled to their own, but one common element that I found is that to believe in the values of the show is to believe in the elements of harmony, and is to guide your actions through life on those elements, to guide it on a sense of honesty, loyalty, laughter, kindness, generosity, and that makes the magic of friendship. That creates the harmony of, and to be honest with you, that just sounds to me like social cohesion. That harmony is what keeps this fandom going strong, despite, you know, like I said, all the negativity in the world, despite the fact that there are people out there who have literally made videos calling Bronies the latest sign of the apocalypse. Yes, it exists. Yep, Google it. Now, we don't always talk about this in the fandom. What we usually talk about is this slogan of love and tolerate. And I think really what that is it's boiling the elements down to its simplest form. Is living your life by doing this, by loving and tolerating those around us. We can create that environment where we can all exist together, despite the fact that we have a lot of differences. You know, I don't agree with everybody in our group or every brony. You know, and I don't care. I have friends who have so many different beliefs.
Hell, you can even not like some people. I mean, that's perfectly normal.
But that respect is going to be what keeps us through and keeps us going. So one thing we did, and I'm gonna try to power through this because I want to get to you guys' time, is we reached out for some testimonials from people in the fandom to see what they had to say about how the fandom affected them. So we sent out a few posts, reached out to a few friends, and here's what happened.
Quite literally.
So for these tests, I want to share just a couple of them with you that really stuck home to me. This one here, if anybody's familiar with Cyril the Wolf, fellow Pennsylvania native and Brony musician, apparently he wanted to chime in there. Said that MLP made me more in touch with my emotions. A couple other ones that really stuck out to us. I'm able to find little random things to be happy about. I know the Brony psychologist, Dr. Edwards, and his team. I've spoken with him, and he always talks about how people always say about how watching the show makes them happy. There ain't nothing wrong with being happy, if you ask me. I kind of like being happy. Mm-hmm. This one I like too. I met some great friends and my amazing husband through MLP. I actually know for a fact that at least one person, if not multiple people in this room have their relationship is another Brony. So, yes, in the back corner there. Hi, Brian, we love you. And hi, Katie at home, we love you too. So, there is no fourth wall. Pinkie Pie is in this show. So, this is one of the other ones that always sticks out to me, reminds me of the values I was taught within the Army, which drew me in closer to the fandom. There was a large contingency of really awesome military Bronies. Semper Fili is strong to this day. And I keep hearing that is that, you know, the core values of what people have learned in the military are what they find are core values behind the show. You know, the honesty, the loyalty, etc., etc. That's what draws in people. Honestly, I think some of the most rugged, rough, and tough people I've ever met are Bronies, which is cool because the heck with stereotypes, right?
Fuck them all!
Where? Oh, no. Oh, it is. Wonderful. So, this is my favorite time. We have 20 minutes. And we're going to turn it over to you guys, whoever wants to tell their story. So, if you want to tell your story, let's do this. Wait, who wants to talk? Okay. Let's do this. Anybody who wants to talk, come over here in the front row. And that way we can do this in an organized fashion.
Person that has depression and anxiety issues, and for the longest time I always tried to find an outlet, but I was never a social person. And one day it actually happened randomly when I was, no, that's not what I was doing. I was actually going through Netflix randomly, and stop interrupting me, that's so rude. But I was going through Netflix randomly, and I actually came across My Little Pony, and for a while, I'm like, no, you're way too old for this crap, move on. But it kept coming back up in my suggestion list. And I'm like, okay, I gotta look at this, because, you know, I was seeing it when it was like the second generation and everything. So I was never really a fan before. And I started watching it. Next thing I know, 2 seasons later, I figured out it was time to go to bed because it was like 2 in the morning. I was like,
we've all had those binge nights.
Yeah. And so what ended up happening is then I started watching the show more and progressively just kind of keeping it a secret because I didn't know how a lot of people would react. Eventually, my older sister found out. And she actually started making fun of me for a while. And for a while, I actually was ashamed of it until I realized that, no, I'm not going to, because this makes me happy. So I addressed that with her, and, you know, then she stopped. So as time went on, I wanted to get more into it besides just the show. I went actually online, and I found the Maryland Bronies, who they did their My Little Pony card game. And I did not know anything about it. Now I have 2.5 binders full of these cards. And when I went there, I was very, very scared to go there. Not because I was scared they were going to reject me, but it's new and I already had a lot going on. And I went, and it's like I've been there for years. They acted like I've been their friend for years, that they were just like, oh, come on, what was your favorite part of the show? You know, hey, do you want to learn this? We can teach you. We'll be happy to teach you the game. And I didn't know anything. And then after I learned the game, well, then I started collecting the cards myself. And then 2 years ago, well, actually it was 2014, I actually ran into the documentary on Netflix, and I watched it. And that's actually where I learned about BronyCon. And since 2015, me and my younger sister go to BronyCon, and every time we go there, it's like we're a totally different person. We end up being so outspoken. We can go randomly like hugging people, chasing people, making fun together. And I've actually made a couple friends from BronyCon. They're now on my Facebook page. So, you know, we keep up with each other, and every year it's always, that is my home. That is my home. So that's kind of my story and how I got into it.
Thank you for sharing. I'm the king of random noises, in case you haven't noticed.
Come on up.
I love your cosplay.
Thank you. Okay, so I'd never watched The Hub. The only time I'd watch The Hub is when Family Game Night was on, nothing was on. My Little Pony commercial came on. I'm like, this looks like the stupidest thing in the world. Why are they still making it? The first time I heard, it was the game that they had. And the first thing I heard was Cancer Lot. And I was like, why would they have a place Cancer Lot? So one day I'm making dinner, and my brother and his girlfriend are watching My Little Pony because he doesn't like it, but she does. And I hear this like random laughter. And I walk into the room, and it's this scene where the ponies who own the cake shop are constantly refilling Princess Celestia's tea, and they overfill it because she pretends to take a sip, and she's just sitting there dying of laughter. I'm like, okay, I gotta watch it. And I watched a few episodes with her, and she was like, I think you're just like Pinkie Pie, which she's not wrong. So actually this day is her first time me getting in the room and her rooming with me, and we are doing, tomorrow it's gonna be our first time I put it together for our group of being My Little Pony from Equestria Girls.
Awesome. Thank you. Any pony else, don't be shy. Unless your parrot is Fluttershy, then you're entitled. Come on down, sweetheart.
Come on up, Heather. Love the dress.
So I don't know if you guys went over this, but I was like the quintessential, like, I trolled and picked and was one of those terrible, terrible people on the internet that made fun of Bronies. And I was like, you know, I'm gonna sit down and actually give it a shot, because I realized as I got older, I was like, I'm being a terrible person. And, oh, sorry.
You're fine, honey.
You're fine.
And it was instant. First 2 episodes, I was addicted. And it was that I couldn't stop. And then I got into it and more and more and more into it. And then it changed my life. It really, really did. I live in a very small town, and I travel 2 hours, sometimes more, just to come and see some of my Brony friends now. Because it's become a second family to me. And I can't explain how terrible I feel about the things that I used to say or that I would post and stuff. And I really, truly believe that people would give the fandom more of a shot. They'd realize how much heart is in the fandom, how much support is here. And I just wanted to come up and state that as someone who was that terrible person that made fun of people, it takes 1 second to just try it. And then you realize it's just addictive. It's simply addictive. And what's the saying? I started with the show, I stayed for the fandom.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah, come on down, my brother. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh wait, I should do both biceps.
Let's do this, little dragon! I don't know what cosplay that is back there with the huge, like, turquoise head.
Primarina. That's Primarina, and you're gorgeous, hon.
That is cool. Alright, so... God, I hate the sound of my voice. I guess it would be right after Princess Twilight happened, but so that'd be like the end of season 3.
End of season 3.
Yeah. So my good brother over here, I guess I just got into it. He showed me the first. God, I really hate the sound of my voice over a microphone.
Hey, we love you.
But so yeah, aside from a few people and like I grew up in school, like he's literally been my main friend my entire life. So he got me into the show. I think he had like an Xbox background that was MLP. So eventually I just saw the first episode, like the pilot. As soon as I saw Nightmare Moon, I was like, and watched the episode and her story, I was like, she is metal AF. So as soon as I saw the first episode, I was like, I want more of her. What other episodes are there? And then I guess I jumped ahead to the Lunar Eclipse episode. And after I saw that, I was like, yep, in love, best ever. So then we just started binge watching the seasons. And I think by the time season 4 came along, we were caught up, or I was. So, and then after that, another mutual friend of ours, Brendan, who's, I don't know, he's not here. But he told me,
He'll be here tonight.
Oh, okay, tonight. He told me about the about the BOSPA group, so we both joined up, and I guess the first meetup I went to was actually a Monty Python night, ironically. Yeah, I remember this guy, other than Brendan, was the first dude I saw from the group, and he's wearing like an MLP themed Black Knight shirt with the disembodiment stuff. So I met him. And then ever since then, even though I'm not able to get to a lot of meetups, the meetups I do get to, like I said, I feel myself. I mean, I don't have any, like I said, like I get to dress like a weird dude. I get to let my metal freak flag fly, my vampire flag fly, and and be whatever I want to be, and nobody judges you and everybody's cool. And like with anything, even in the Brony fandom, there are, I do see, I'm not going to pretend it's all sunshine and rainbows. There's some people who out there who call themselves Bronies but don't really take to heart the messages from the show, and, but in the end it's like, hey, if that's how you choose to be, that's how you choose to be, but I just try to treat everybody with respect and stuff. And, like I said, the show has been great, some aren't really into it anymore, but, even then it's like, I enjoy everything I see, So, like I said, that's really my story.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Yes.
She has a question for you.
Oh.
Not bad.
Just slide.
Yeah?
Oh.
Bro, good brother, show her the bag.
Oh, yes.
Anything else?
All right. Anyone else? Yes, I see more hands. Let's see. Okay, you're coming, and then you would. Okay, go for it. What? Oh, my favorite pony, and it changed, is Special Agent Sweetie Drops. And Libon is OTP.
For me, if we're counting all of Pony, it would be Minty from G3, because for Christmas, every pony needs a pair of socks. I mean, that and the colors. But from Generation 4, Friendship is Magic, whatever you want to call it, it would be Rarity. Because she's just fabulous.
Darling. Welcome, Steven. I believe in Steven.
Yeah, you heard it here, folks. Steven's a brony. Yeah! Woo!
I really think Steven Universe would be a brony. Pearl would be cautious about it, I think, though.
Yeah, I can imagine. You'll have to forgive me. It might take me some time to gather my thoughts, but so in advance, I'd like to apologize if I stammer on and such. But to make a long story short, when I was a little kid, I used to play with the Generation 1 My Little Pony toys with my older sister.
OG over here, yeah.
It's the truth. Yeah, so anyway, it wasn't until I was in grade school that I saw the first generation and pretty much the second on the Disney Channel. That's when it was syndicated to it.
Yep.
But
I remember that.
Memories.
Yeah, I remember I was also into the Care Bears, so that basically got me hooked into it. I'm not really a Care Bears fan anymore, but well, to this day, it took me until 2012 to finally become an official Brony, and I was living in Nashville around that time, and to give you the gist of my experience, I grew up watching the Powerpuff Girls on Cartoon Network, and I could definitely feel some PPG vibes off of the fourth generation. And well, I wasn't overly into it in the beginning at first, but after slowly but surely, I took it pace by pace by taking a few glances at it a little at a time, and eventually I was hooked. Took the bait, hook, line, and sinker to put it in short terms. Yeah, and oddly enough, it wasn't until I discovered Discord, who was voiced by John Delancey, that I basically got hooked on Star Trek: The Next Generation as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So now, as far as my favorite MLP characters go, for the main characters, it's a definite six-way tie with the main six. Because basically, I just can't choose one.
It's like having to choose your favorite child.
Exactly. Yeah, and well, going back to the time where I got hooked, for me, my first episode that I saw was Dragon Quest, and
okay.
Yeah, a friend of mine on DeviantArt was streaming a few episodes along with Darkwing Duck, The Simpsons, and stuff like that. And
Good stuff.
yeah,
Miss Darkwing Duck.
I had to admit it. I was rather impressed. But what really got me hooked was the Canterlot Wedding two-parter.
This day is going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Kinda
I don't
damn.
know why, it just seemed all that entertaining to me. It's pretty good. And I realize I might be getting a lot of hate and comments if this gets on YouTube at all, but I
think you've got a room full of people who will support you. Am I right?
Thank you very much. So anyway, well, during the season 6 premiere, I started to take a liking to Starlight Glimmer. The season 5 finale was a weak approach to her redemption, but after a while, she started to grow on me. And that's pretty much it, except for one other thing. It was because of the Brony fandom that I got to meet a very good friend of mine, and in a brother figure by the name of, let's call him True Blue. And to this day, we treat each other like brothers.
Awesome.
Thank you, my man. Bro hooks all around.
Yeah. Woo. All right. Sadly, we are out of time. I know there's a panel literally right after us, but if I'm not mistaken, they are also My Little Pony panel. So, yes. Okay. So, a couple quick things before you cut the video. Shout out to my friend Ginger Crip behind why this became a panel in the first place. Another couple things, I will be doing Keeping Fandoms Magic tomorrow, where we're going to talk about problems within fandoms and the science behind it and how to deal with it. Things like internet trolls, how you consider somebody to be a true fan of a show, dealing with labels. We're going to talk about that. That's 11 o'clock tomorrow at the adjunct over at TELUS 360. And hopefully we're working on getting another pony panel added where I'm going to talk about the science of friendship. I have business cards up here if you want to grab one, and otherwise I'm going to let these fine folks set up and go out there and keep friendship magic. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you very much.